periods of time.
Yeah, usually. So when you talk about forgiveness, when it started by someone, so you go as an educated yeah. That's, you can see individuals, but this is a whole family, for instance, that was killed. That's a whole family that was completely decimated. That's a plan of extermination. It's not just killing single people, it's exterminating everyone. It's a survival selection photo of his whole family that was displayed. That's the father of one of my colleagues who works here.
And how do you feel you are here every day?
Yeah.
You have to speak about it to other people.
It's a bit challenging, but you know, people have different ways of doing that. Some people avoid to face or to talk to very specific people. So if we talk about this photo, you can see that's the whole family. If you look at the names, they're all the same names, family names. It's the whole family that was exterminated, not just a single person. I was here by the time when genocide was happening. I was 13, transiting from 13 to 14 years old, and I was I accounted hatred pretty much area before some years back, which actually was a signal that the society where I was living at was not secure, either for me or for any other person that shared the same identity like mine. It took some years. That was before that, actually in December 1990. I was 10 years old. And that time then, in a 4 years period, there was an intensification of persecution, and the government of the time intensified the plan of genocide by singling out the Tutsi, harassing them and killing them. Basically what happened in 1994, it was a climax to what had been prepared for quite a long time. But then what triggered the intensification of genocidal plan was that the LPA, the arming of LPF, which came to liberate the country, launched the first attack on the 1st October in 1990. And then the government of Hutu radical extremists that was on power in Rwanda was quick to blame the Tutsi, to accuse them to be the accomplices of those who are attacking the country. And the general narrative by then was the Hutu majority wanted to have their country being taken off by the Tutsi minority and subject them into slavery again, because that had been always the educational narratives, either on the level of the society or officially. And then the Tutsi minority in Rwanda started facing lots of persecution. So my family was part of those. We have heard a bit of some attacks, verbal attacks or physical ones. And we had also some of our family members being displaced because where they were, the genocide rehearsal in Bugesera had been happening. That was 1992. My father, who was kind of very interested in politics, but was just a sympathizer of one of the opposition political party, which was called PL by the time, would feed me with a bit of information about what was going on in the country. So in a 4-year period, I could be away of what was happening, but of course not what would be happening in the future. The genocide happened on the night of, when the presidential plane got shot down. It was on night of 6th at 8:27 minutes, probably. And that then sparked the long planning genocidal activity, because the same night people were killed in their homes. So my family and myself were living not far from where this memorial is located. We're living in the central city of this city of Kigali.
I want you to take me to that very night that you were talking about. What exactly happened on that very night when you saw people being killed, on that day when it all started?
That very particular night would be worked up with the intensive and massive shootings in the city, exchange of bullets from one hill to another. It was in the dark. You just see closing bullets from one hill to another. And as the time goes on, then it became quite intense. And you start noticing a bit of heavy artillery. And then that became a bit worrying, because it became now a fight that had an idea. We had it closes to our minds that maybe fights were resumed, because you had one of the battalion of the RPA military forces that was stationed in the city. So we thought of them being attacked by Rwanda. It was quite intense. I was so worried, but because the social structure by then is that you hold everything, and you account much on your parents. So I had to look up my father and trying to get any information from him to tell us what is going on. But then early in the morning, so that's the time, because at the beginning, walked up, it was a bit persisting shootings. And then as the time goes on, then it became so intense, and you start worrying about what is happening. We are kind of used with that, because Rwanda of around 1993, it became a total chaos. Government had no control anymore to its own militia and men, and they would move around with the killing tools, and you hear some killings here and there, and then it was not an unusual thing to hear about both grenades or killings, because I remember I had cases where we would go to school jumping over dead bodies of people without knowing who has killed them. So before 1994, it was a bit of chaos area, a few months before. So we kind of get used to that, until then the massive shootings come in and it becomes so intense. And you start to worry about really if it's something that you're used with or it's different. Then it took not long time when we switched on the radio and heard that the president of Rwanda was killed, and government ordering everyone to stay steady at home, and they were start searching for the enemies. Then that became more worrying, because the president's being killed, it means quite something. I remember my mom started crying at the very moment, and she was crying by fear, not by sadness. And that actually got me thinking that they've been living with the fear all the time that I know them, and it triggered them maybe something bad that would again happen to them. And then my father, he would try to keep his calm and, thinking much. So I got caught in between the two sort of feelings of the people that would looked up as being, leaders.
On the other side, you have your mother who is crying, overwhelmed by the feelings. Then on the other side, you have a father who is calm, and you are looking up to both of them, and you now don't know which side or how to feel.
Yeah, exactly. And then I would then start collecting my own information, in which we're just looking through the window and see if anything is happening around. So I was the youngest in my family, and I would still account on the elders. My sister was older than me. The brothers were elder than me, and my father and my mom. So I would be maybe the last to be searched off if anything bad would happen. But I would still worry about what is happening. So for the whole day, we then started from the radio hearing much about the deaths of a very specific people. Because of course you don't listen to one channel. You listen to different other channels. Stay tuned and get to know what is happening around. And they would start, announcing the death of leaders of opposition and some of the main famous Tutsi that were known in the city. And then that got us thinking that, I got to know the reason why my mom was crying. It was not safe at all, knowing that we are among of those people. We have full characteristics of being attacked and killed as well. So we kept calm, and my father tried to open the door and trying to, kind of sniffing what is happening around and collecting a bit of information. And that very night, the very day, one of the neighbor came in our house and asking us if we could share the food. We had a bit of rice, which we shared, but also they're worrying about what is happening. So no one exactly could figure out what is happening. Then it continued in before noon and the afternoon and then the night. When I'm saying night, I'm talking about maybe to 6, 7